Welcome to The Explainer. We're jumping straight into the 18th century pre-independence Maratha Empire today to uncover a history that is, honestly, straight out of a movie. We're talking about the system-breaking, truly extraordinary lives of Ahilyabai Holkar and her formidable father-in-law, the Maratha commander Malharrao Holkar. This is a story of profound tragedy, radical rebellion against societal norms, and the rise of one of the most remarkable female leaders in all of Indian history. If you love discovering powerful figures who absolutely defied the odds to shape empires, well, you are going to be captivated by the journey we're taking today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Right off the bat, I want you to grasp the monumental historical weight of Ahilyabai. Contemporary English writers of her time literally compared her to England's Queen Elizabeth. That is the level of administrative brilliance, fierce independence, and absolute authority we're talking about here. She wasn't just some figurehead, you know? She was a sovereign who left a permanent mark on the actual landscape of India.
Here's a quick roadmap of her rapid, really cinematic life journey. We start with her birth in 1725. Look at her early marriage in 1733. Pause at a massive, incredibly tragic turning point in 1754, and finally explore her absolute ascension to power starting in 1766. Having this structure in mind is going to really help as we zoom in on the emotional milestones of her life.
Part 1. A Visionary Leader's Choice, the Spark of Destiny.
Our story kicks off on May 31, 1725. Ahilyabai was born in the village of Chaundi to Mankoji Shinde and Sushilabai. Now, Mankoji was the village head. It was a respectable position, sure, but becoming Maratha royalty? That was something entirely out of their realm of imagination. But this young girl was exceptionally radiant. During a visit, the eagle-eyed Maratha commander of Indore, Malharrao Holkar, literally one of the most trusted generals of the empire, spotted her. He instantly recognized a totally unique potential in her, framing what can only be described as a pure moment of destiny.
Malharrao was so impressed that he formally asked her father for her hand in marriage to his only son, Khanderao. Mankoji readily agreed, knowing this was just an unimaginable honor. And so, in the year 1733, at just 8 years old, Ahilyabai was married into the royal Holkar family with massive fanfare. She quickly became the beloved daughter-in-law, getting immense love from the entire family, and especially from her husband.
Part 2. Tragedy, Rebellion, and Transformation, Defying the Flames.
History rarely follows a peaceful, uninterrupted path, right? In 1754, the whole tone of our story dramatically changes. Tragedy struck during the Battle of Kumbri. Her husband, Khanderao, Malharrao's only son, and the heir to this fierce warrior legacy, was killed in combat. The grief of this moment, it really cannot be overstated. It was a massive, shattering blow. Not just to the Holkar family and a heartbroken father, but to the entire Maratha Empire, which relied heavily on their leadership.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the crossroads Ahilyabai faced. Two paths were laid out before her. The expected path was the prevalent tradition of Sati, where a widow throws herself onto her husband's funeral pyre, and she actually set out to do it. But Malharrao Holkar, despite being utterly broken by his son's death, staged a radical, system-breaking rebellion. With a heavy heart but immense courage, he intervened. He stopped Ahilyabai from entering the flames, choosing instead to defy the entire prevailing system and forge his daughter-in-law into a ruler.
Part 3. The Warrior Queen Rises, Forging a Ruler. Ahilyabai was initially uneducated and shy, but under Malharrao's incredibly skilled mentorship, she learned the ropes of governance and war. This was basically her training montage. Just 12 years after her husband's death, her mentor and father-in-law passed away in 1766. An era had ended. But Ahilyabai, she didn't falter. By 1767, she courageously took absolute command. She named Tuko Holzer as her military chief, took firm control of the administration, and forcefully stepped directly onto the battlefield herself. Because of her incredible leadership style, she earned a truly magnificent title, Vikas Samradnye. This translates to Development Empress. She became recognized everywhere as a fiercely protective, justice-loving, and welfare-focused leader. You see, she wasn't just a warrior holding on to territory. She was deeply committed to the upliftment of her people, completely balancing a thirst for knowledge with deep, deep compassion for women and society.
Part 4. A Golden Administrative Era, Building an Empire.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what a development empress does. Her administration was strategically brilliant. She made the incredibly bold decision to shift the capital of the Holkar dynasty south to Maheshwar, but simultaneously, she didn't neglect her roots at all.
She poured resources into Indore, developing it from a mere village into a prominent expanding city, extending Maratha influence far into the north. The sheer volume of her administrative work is it's awe-inspiring. With Ahilyabai Holkar by her side, she went on an absolute building spree across India. We're talking restoring ancient, dilapidated temples, building vital water bodies and reservoirs, and constructing massive two-lane paved roads. But her work wasn't just concrete and stone. She was a profound social reformer. She championed widow remarriage, a direct, poignant reflection of her own life experience. She led sweeping tree plantation drives and built dharmshalas, or rest houses for travelers. Her works literally shaped the modern geography of India as we know it today.
However, we really have to pause here to recognize a deeply heartbreaking historical reality. Despite her immense power and the social battles she fought all her life, there was a tragic irony waiting in her old age. Following the death of Ahiliabai's own son, her daughter-in-law chose to commit Sati. This event caused the great queen immense, devastating sorrow in her final years. This fierce warrior, social reformer, and just ruler carried this heavy emotional burden until she finally passed away on August 13, 1795 at the age of 70.
Part 5. An enduring historical legacy. An immortal name.
Let's move to and see how this builds into the modern era, because true greatness cannot be hidden forever. You can see her legacy built into actual modern institutions across India today. Both Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra proudly honor her. In Madhya Pradesh, her Indore Palace is a declared historical monument. You literally fly into the Rajmata Devi Ahilyabai Holkar Airport, and you can study at the similarly named university in Indore. The government even started a social award in her name in 1996, first given to Narayan Deshmukh by the Prime Minister. Over in Maharashtra, there's an annual social award for outstanding women, and proposals exist to rename Solapur University in her honor, keeping her name immortal in the public square.
Why does all this matter? Because there was a time when the historical establishment actually attempted to downplay or even hide the sheer magnitude of this warrior queen's achievements, but today the tide has finally turned. Her life story is being included in educational curriculums across various grade levels. A whole new generation is finally learning about her rebellious spirit, her unmatched administration, and her profound empathy.
So, the crucial takeaway here is really a question of perspective. If a systemic establishment could attempt to hide a development empress, a woman who literally rebuilt the infrastructure and the social fabric of an entire empire, how many other revolutionary women has history hidden in the shadows? It's a pretty provocative thought, isn't it? It challenges all of us to keep digging, to keep questioning, and to keep learning. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey through the life of Ahilyabai Holkar.